Welcome back guys, it is Gaming Nate, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. The video that I'm going to be doing is not my first time tripping on acid, but not my first time tripping on acid, but my most intense time tripping on acid. So like my most intense trip, and I have done it quite a few times. And I just want to put a big disclaimer out there before I do say anything else about this drug, because it is illegal. I do not condone the use of acid, meaning like I don't want you to go do it after watching this video, like, oh yeah, let's go do some acid. So just putting that big disclaimer out there. But without further ado, let's get into the story of my most intense time tripping on acid. So me and my mate, we thought, oh sorry, we had nothing to do all day, we had no work, we had no college, we couldn't be asked to go to gym, and we had nothing else to do. So we thought, sorry, what a perfect day to trip. And the day was gorgeous as well. It was actually, oh no, it was night, wasn't it? It was night. So what we did basically was, it was really nice in the day, and we were trying to ring this guy, the acid dealer, we'll just call him John for this video. So we were trying to ring John all day and he just wouldn't answer his phone, and then eventually at about 9 o'clock he answered his phone and he offered us his 2CB, which if you don't know what 2CB is it's sort of like a mixture between MDMA and acid, and we were like, oh, well we don't want to get that. So he said, well you can wait around for another 2 hours if you want to get the acid, because the acid dealer, John, he had to get the acid off another dealer. So we had to wait around for that other dealer because he had to drive all the way from like fucking Manchester to give him the acid or something like that. So we had to wait an extra 2 hours, and hence it was already about 8, 9 o'clock at this time. So we had to wait till about 10, 11ish. So it was about 11ish we got the acid. So we get the acid, we meet him and all that, and we give him about 30 quid. And I think we talk about, I think we were initially we thought we were going to be taking like 200 micrograms, which is 2 tabs, and there's about 100 micrograms in each tab obviously. But he said it was 400 micrograms on each tab, and we were like, oh well sorry, we're just going to have to buy each tab, aren't we, because it's not like we can cut the fucking tabs in half. So we buy the tabs and we have 400 micrograms of acid each. And there was also another mate, so we bought, I think it was £35 worth of acid, and it was meant to be £30, but he wanted an extra £5 for it just so he could make a little bit of a profit. So we bought, I think it was all in all, we bought 1 tab, so that had 400 micrograms on, and then we bought another tab that had 400 micrograms on, and then I think we bought half a tab for my other mate it was his first time tripping on acid, so he only had 200 micrograms, which was more than what he should have. Really, if you're tripping on acid your first time, you should only have 100 micrograms. But he had 200 micrograms. So all in all, we had 2.5 tabs. We get the acid off the dealer after waiting for about 3 or 4 hours, and then we go home, we drop the acid, we go back to my place because my mum's away for a week on holiday somewhere, I don't know where. So we drop the acid at home, we go about 35 minutes, and we're watching this film called Faster with Dwayne Johnson, and it starts to kick in. I'm sort of like, just watching this film as normal, we're all just sort of talking like, you know, just be like, oh, so has it kicked in yet? Has it kicked in? And we're like, well no, it's only been like 5 minutes. And then mine kicked in like first, mine kicked in really quick, and I'm a skinny guy, and the two mates that I'm tripping with are pretty big guys. So mine kicks in the first, and I'm just there on 400 fucking micrograms of acid, and everything starts, you know, all the waves start coming in, and I remember just watching the film, and I remember started getting these really negative vibes, because the film that I was watching, it was to do with this guy's son or something like that, and he wants to get revenge back on this guy who kills his son. And I remember watching this film, and I was just started getting, because I don't know if you've ever taken acid before, the viewers, but when you take acid, like everything just sort of like really hits you hard, like everything, you're a lot more sensitive and a lot more prone to like feelings, like sensitive feelings, like everything. Like if you're watching a sad film, it'd be like 10 times sadder. If you're watching a happy film, it'd be 10 times happier. And I was watching this film, and it was so horrible, and I just wanted to turn the film off. So I went into the kitchen, sat on my own, and I was just like to my mates, like, oh no, this is really hitting me strongly. This is really hitting me strongly. And my mate was wearing these short denim jeans, and he came into the fucking kitchen to see if I was okay, you know, because I was stripping on 400 micrograms of acid. And he says to me, no, you alright mate? And I'm just like, yeah, I just can't watch that film because it's really fucking negative. And he's like, oh right, okay, well that's pretty weird. And then he sits down by the side of me, and I just start tripping fucking balls, like Mayan patterns start coming up and everything, and all this sort of shit. And I start seeing apples, and loads of fruit just starts coming up on his fucking shorts. And as weird as this sounds, it was fucking true. So I started seeing loads of fruit on my mate's shorts, on my mate's like short denim shorts. And then my other mate comes in to see how I'm doing, and his doesn't really kick in until like an hour and a half, because I think it's just because it's his first time doing acid, and he's only having 200 micrograms, and he's a pretty big guy. So he comes in, he's like, oh, well, this acid didn't even hit me yet. And my other mate, he's like, well, yeah, it's sort of hitting me now. And he keeps on saying this. He's like, oh, this is a hefty dose of LSD, this is a hefty dose. And then I start looking at the floor, because the floor in my kitchen is like, it's wooden, but it's, I don't know if you've ever like seen like wooden doors or like the wooden floors, and they sort of have like little like circles in them, like where they've not really cut it properly, like where like other twigs have sort of like came out of the panels of the floor or whatever. If you kind of can relate, like they have little circles in the wood and it's like darker spots. And I start looking at that and everything just starts curving and morphing into itself, and I started hearing this like weird ringing in my ear, like as if like it's making everything, like everything just sounds like it's morphing and sort of like going into itself, and it's just really, really fucking weird. And at this point it started getting really, really ill, like I just started to feel really ill. And I don't know if you've realised, but like if you've ever done acid before, I feel like there's this like constant headache that you get. And this started coming on like really strongly. I started to get really, really sick. Like I started like eating shit because I was really hungry. I thought it was just because I was really hungry, not because I was really sick. And then about 10 minutes later, my belly just started doing this really weird thing. It's like I could hear like everything that was going on in my belly. Like I could feel everything that was going on in my belly. I could feel all the blood moving around. And it was just like it was a really uneasy, unsettling feeling. So I just sat down after I had some Pepperamis and shit like that. And I sat down, and about 10-15 minutes later I was kind of alright, and I was just watching the end of this film still, and everything was just really weird. Like the walls were all breathing. I didn't really see that much patterns. The only patterns I could really see were on the floor, and everything was just sort of morphing into everything was morphing into itself. And then I remember looking at the fish tank, and I have a fish tank in my living room, and the colours of the fish tank, we have like 2 lights in the fish tank just to make it look a bit nicer, and it was like kept going blue, and then it was green, and then it was red. And I remember looking at the colour like teal, like it went into this like blue teal colour, and it was really weird. And every cut, like I don't know if you realise, but like when you're on acid, like you can sort of smell colour, or like hair colour or something like that. And I remember I started to actually not necessarily smell or hear colour, but every time excuse me, every time like a different colour came on the fish tank, I started getting a different mood. So for example, like when I think of yellow, I'd sort of think of lemons, you know, because lemons are green. Or when excuse me, when like yellow would come on, I'd be in like a happy mood. Or if pink would come on, I'd be in like a love mood. Or if like red would come on, I'd be in an angry mood. Or if blue would come on, I'd be in like a selfish mood. And it was just really weird. And my mates kept on saying like, you're being really weird today. You're being really weird, obviously, because I'm on acid, but like really like what's the word? Like it's like they kept on saying to me like it's like you're sort of on bipolar. It's like you've got bipolar. And I was like, wow, what do you mean? And they kept on saying, well, your moods just keep changing. You keep going really happy and really sad. And then I was just like, oh right, well that's a bit weird. And then at this point, this is where my mate's acid, my big mate's acid started like kicking in, and it was really hitting him hard, considering it was his first time doing acid. And he started sweating a lot, and he's a big guy anyway, so he would sweat quite a lot. And he's, you know, but he started sweating loads, and I started panicking for him, because I was like, oh shit, man, are you okay? You okay? You look really bad. And he just looked like he just looked really stoned. Like he looked really stoned for some reason. And I was just like to my mate, like, can you stand up and all that shit? Because like his legs kept on wobbling and shit, and he kept on shaking his legs. And I was like, mate, are you okay? Do you want me to get you some water? Because he was sweating and all that. And then he was like, no, I'm fine, it's just really hitting me hard. And I was just asking him like, well, what are you seeing? Are you seeing all like weird patterns? And he was like, yeah, it's hitting me fucking hard, mate. I'm seeing weird patterns here. And that was all I could really get out of him, like, oh yeah, I'm just seeing weird patterns and shit like that. So after about like 5 minutes of talking to him, like just making sure he's okay, we started going back to the fish tank again. And like I started seeing shit like pump out of the fish tank. Like it was almost like there's a tube in the middle of my fish tank, and what it does is it pumps out loads of water to bring fresh water in. But it was sort of like the water, because like the tank was half full as well, because my mum's boyfriend was cleaning it and he forgot to clean it before he went away. And it was like the water was pumping out and it was splashing against the tank, and every time I saw the water splash against the tank, it was as if like I kept on imagining in my head there was like a squid's tentacles, or like an octopus, and it kept on sort of splashing at the tank, and it was like a starfish or something like that, just like it kept on pouncing at the tank like dish, 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 and it was just really, really fucking weird. And then I remember looking at the blinds of my house, like the blinds, like the window, and then everything sort of like the whole geometry of everything just started bending and going dead wacky and changing. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know if you've ever seen the programme Lazy Town, some UK kids would have, United Kingdom, with a girl who had pink hair, and everything started just like looking like that. Everything was dead wacky, everything was bendy, everything was really, really fucking weird. And then my mate went home because like he had to go home because he had work in the morning. And me and my mate were just talking about like life and shit. And I remember going out of reality for about 15 seconds. Basically, I put on the music channel called Magic on the telly. And I remember just going out of reality. I couldn't really remember anything of it other than like me just going out of reality. It felt like I was morphing into another dimension. And then that was sort of the end of the trip there. Everything just sort of went back to normal. It was really weird. But that was my fucking most intense acid trip ever. If you did like it, please drop a like, leave a comment in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, peace. And also, if you do want more videos like this, because I do quite like a lot of drugs, which isn't a good thing to say, but if you want like my first time getting high, my first time doing acid, then just leave a comment in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, peace out.